Hi, welcome to the Wisdom of Everything channel, the channel where you learn everything you need to know to become the hero version of yourself. In this video, you will discover 6 reasons why you shouldn't trust anyone, because there is a fundamental difference between what people say and what they do.
Woohoo!
The first reason why you can't trust what people say they will do is because we often act, unconsciously, on the design of the system we are interacting with. In one study, Eric Johnson and Daniel Goldstein investigated why people would participate in an organ donor program. Participants had to fill in a form where they were asked to participate in the program or not, using different default options. What the researchers found was that the huge difference between two groups of countries, those giving a lot versus those giving very little, had to do with the type of default option they used. When they asked participants to check the box if they wanted to participate in the program, many people did not join. While when they changed the default option to check the box if they don't want to participate, the results of participants joining the program dramatically changed, and donation rates were about twice as high. In fact, in both cases, people did not check the box. Like if it would take too much energy to check it off. But the difference is that in the reverse default option, people automatically enrolled in the program. Maybe became donors against their wishes. However, when the participants were asked why they have joined the program, they answered like it was their own conscious decision, and that they think it is important to contribute and help people in need. You'll never hear someone say that it was because of the default option. This study indicates that the design of the system you interact with influences your behavior unconsciously. Be it the design of the form, the design of your environment, or the design of the product and anything else you are using. The second reason is the pity that our memory is biased. Unfortunately, but yes, we are not only very forgetful. There is also a very high chance that the things we remember are far from what really happened. Our memories are fuzzy, blurry snapshots of the past our brains are constantly tinkering with. They might fill in the gaps, incorporate things from the present into past memories, or alter it, in sometimes dramatic ways. Dr. Elizabeth Loftus, a cognitive psychologist and expert on human memory, has even conducted hundreds of experiments throughout her career that show it's pretty easy to change someone's memory about an event. For example, in one study, she successfully implanted in 25% of the participants, ethically not surgically, the false memory of having been lost in a shopping mall as children. One participant even remembered that the imaginary man who rescued him was really cool. The third reason why you can't trust what people say is because we are not always completely honest. Maybe because we're afraid of the truth, or because we just don't want to upset our mother, and some have many more reasons to lie. But a common one is often because we want to fit into the group and be socially accepted. For example, if you ask someone if they've washed their hands when leaving the bathroom or disinfected them before entering the building, which is super duper important in pandemic times, chances are people will say yes, even if they haven't or have forgotten. The following reasons why you can't trust what people say are about the future. When we ask people about the future, we are faced with our often too optimistic future self-image, our inability to predict the future, and our failure to commit. Let's first discuss our tendency to be too optimistic, and therefore we make untrustworthy statements. Perhaps you recognize the following situation? Mom, I promise I won't drink that much this time. And then later that night say, I can drink a bowl of beer on my own without vomiting. And eventually ending up in your bed full of vomit, and of course, an angry mom. I could tell you more examples while drinking my cup of coffee, but it's quite clear. We often say things like we are superheroes, heroes who are less likely to experience negative events in the future. Perhaps some with luck get a positive result that reinforces their overconfidence, but usually these overly optimistic statements cause us to lose trust, because we don't do what we've said. Besides being over-optimistic, we are generally not really great at predicting what will happen in the future environment. For example, a large company in the sky of Los Angeles asked their angel workforce if they would take an apple if they bought some. More than 60% said yes. But the reality was that almost nobody took the apples, because they had to compete with the more delicious, unhealthy food in the cafeteria. And finally, what about our ability to commit and be consistent with what we say? Although consistency and commitment are one of Cialdini's principles of persuasion, a lot of people are actually really bad at being consistent with what they say. Take for example how many times you've heard people make New Year's resolutions that would change their life for the better. And how many of them were successfully accomplished? The figure will be very low. It lies in our human nature to dream, fantasize, and believe in a better future. We make commitments and start with high motivation. And eventually, we lose our dedication due to many different circumstances that magically prevent us from prevailing. So, to conclude, the key message of this video is that there is a fundamental difference between what people say and do. And therefore, you should not blindly trust anyone. There are many more reasons why you shouldn't trust anyone, but the ones discussed in this video were: we act unconsciously on the design of the system we are interacting with. Our memory is biased. People are not always completely honest. We often make too optimistic statements. We are very bad at predicting the future environment. And finally, we fail to commit to what we say. Thank you for watching. And remember, enjoy your day, get wiser, and help us spread the words of wisdom by liking, sharing, and subscribing.
Woohoo!